sunshine is back and temperatures in the low 70s. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
For 42 years, Johnson's Parts and Supply has been your Auto Plus auto parts store. When you need auto parts, think Johnson's Parts and Supply. Your Auto Plus auto parts store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
Spring is in the air, and Closets by Design of Charlotte is here to help you get organized. Schedule your free in-home consultation today. Plus, mention our ad in Lake Norman Woman magazine to get 40% off. Visit closetsbydesign.com today.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Good morning. Welcome to Thrive Here Live with the Town of Huntersville. I am Christy Clark, the mayor of Huntersville, and I am joined today by Ethan Smith and Pam Escobar, who make up the communications department at the Town of Huntersville. And they have been very, very busy of late, changing things and bringing us up to speed. And so I brought them here to share with you, and hopefully you have seen our video that is on our webpage and on our Facebook page. But if not, take time to go look at that. So let's talk about our brand. Tell me about it, and what does it mean, and how do we get here, and all those things about the Town of Huntersville.
Sure. So our brand is really our identity, and we did the work of just solidifying who we are in the eyes of our residents and people who visit the Town of Huntersville. So the new brand is a lot of things, and I always like to say a brand is sort of what people say about you when you're not in the room. And, we did the work. We partnered with Haven Creative, a contractor we use to help develop the brand, to really get the community involved and come up with brand pillars, a brand story, a tagline, who we are, who people view us as, and also tell us, who is in the Town of Huntersville and who we're marketing to. So our brand pillars are that we are for connections, we are for quality of life, and we are for the future. Those are the things that we most commonly heard during our community engagement process, which I think we'll talk about in a little bit. And it really represents for the town as an organization sort of, growing up as a professional organization. And instead of letting people tell our story for us, just making sure that we're the leaders in telling our story that's driven by our community.
So it's new, and then it's also not new, because we're still using the H that everybody knows and loves, right? Our H with our vine that goes through it. And what we did was we really leaned into what people are already saying and what already know about us. And so when we were talking about it with town staff, we were telling them, we have a reputation already. And this is just sort of solidifying what people are already saying about us. So Thrive Here, people are thriving in Huntersville. And when you look at the green H, it does say to me thriving. And then when you meet all these people who are moving here and you ask them why they're here, they're thinking about their families, they're thinking about their kids growing up, all the cool greenways we have, all the things that you can do. So it's not new in the sense that people who know our secrets, like know how great it is to live in Huntersville, now we have a story that we're all going to be saying. So we're all speaking from the same page.
Why does a town need a brand in the first place? Like I've seen that question a lot around, on social media. People wonder, like, what is the point of this brand, and why does a town need a brand? What does that mean for us?
Sure. So really your brand is your identity. And when you control your identity, it helps people more quickly identify you. And by virtue of where Huntersville is located geographically, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of organizations operating in and around Huntersville. And I know when I first started with the town, it was hard to always emphasize what was coming from the town versus what was coming from, City of Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, NCDOT, or other organizations. And so when you do a brand, you get a visual component to it, you get a voice, you get an identity, and you start speaking that language and presenting yourself with those visuals. And so when people are scrolling social media, or they're on the web, or they see your logo on something, they can really quickly and easily identify, okay, that's the Town of Huntersville, that's who's talking to me now. And, we're in an age where we are absolutely saturated with information. And so really, defining who you are and leading and telling that story helps you as an organization a ton.
Well, and telling the story, we're growing. And again, I'll go back to thinking about staff. We'll be talking to staff who've worked for Huntersville for 20 years. They know who we are, but we're going to have brand new people who are starting tomorrow. And how do you sort of cheat sheet get 20 years of information together? This is it. We have a brand book now. This is who we are. This is how we speak to our customers. This is our residents. That way too, that again, as you grow, as you get bigger, it's not as easy. We don't know everybody that's moving to Huntersville. We don't know everybody. Same thing even with staff. It's one thing when you're 20 people. It's another thing when you're 300 people, right?
Right. And I recall when I got elected, someone had written an article about the town of Huntersville, and at the end they kind of said Huntersville is a place who doesn't know who they are. And I think that kind of lit us all on fire because we know who we are, but we want to make sure other people know who we are as well. And so I'm glad to see this happening and kind of capturing how residents feel about the town of Huntersville. And so now that we have this brand, what happens next? How does it roll out? How does it change the way the town of Huntersville looks? What happens?
Sure. So we are rolling out the brand in a way that I say we're trying to be fiscally responsible. It's a kind of a graduated rollout. So what we have discussed with departments is, instead of spending a ton of money up front to overhaul everything and get everything into the new brand, what exists now will be grandfathered in, but as it ages out, departments will work with us to make sure that whatever is ordered and purchased that is new is up to the brand standards. And so what we've already started doing is the free and easy electronic things where, you can see it on our social media with templates. Our email signatures are about to change. Our website is already pretty in brand, which is great. So you'll see a lot online as we move toward that. But then the other pieces, the tangible pieces, letterhead and business cards, building signage, street signs, that sort of thing, that will take time to fully get into brand. So we've been encouraging departments internally to look at this as really, a 2 to 5 to 10 year process because once you have a brand, you need to stick with it for a long time for it really to stick. So it'll be a graduated rollout.
Cool. Yeah, so you might not see it right away, but it'll be in stages. For example, just think about some of our trucks or things that are work vehicles. Some of them are getting rewrapped, and we're like, oh, okay, well then this is a perfect time to rewrap it in the new brand. But if you weren't planning on touching it and that vehicle's doing great, keep it as is. And it already has Huntersville on it, but again, getting it up to speed to the current visuals that we're using.
Yeah.
And all those things should feel very familiar to the community because an important thing about our brand is it's not something that, Pam and I sat in our offices and made up by ourselves. We interacted, let me remember the numbers here, I think with 676 people and gathered 5,933 data points that developed the brand. And we did that through a 6-week online survey for the community, an internal survey for stakeholders and staff. And then we had multiple brand panels. Some were invite only, some were open to all residents where people could come and talk to us and talk to the contractors and, really talk about Huntersville and what they think of when they think about Huntersville. So the entire process of creating this brand, it is something the town did, but it's something that was driven by and created by our community.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the best parts of developing the brand was that Haven is a local organization. So they are here in the community. They live in Mecklenburg County. They recognize Huntersville as a place, and so it makes it have a more personal touch, and they can connect easier with our residents.
Yeah, actually, one of the people on our team, their mom lives in Huntersville. So
so
it's great.
Yeah, it was really personal to them to help us find our brand and also to meet with the residents. And so I know they had, I think the most fun they had was attending one of our events at Veterans Park, and they got to really interact up close with a lot of different people. And so I know those voices helped develop this brand over time, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. And how did you choose them, by the way?
So I knew them through my work with NC3C. I sit on the board of that state organization, and I've worked with them in the past, different organizations, and know the quality of their work. So I reached out to them when we were ready to start.
Oh, very cool. Well, we are about to hear from our sponsor, so stick with us. We have more to share about communications in the town of Huntersville, so hang on, and we'll be right back.
105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
Well, the weather keeping us on our toes as we kick off a brand new work week. Mostly cloudy, mid-70s for your Monday, but we'll need to watch closely through the afternoon for a round of scattered. It could be stronger, even severe thunderstorms. Damaging wind would be our main concern. Also, the low risk of a tornado or hail. Again, storms will be scattered, but stay weather aware. Have a way to get warnings in case they're issued. We'll clear it out for your Tuesday. Partly cloudy. Some sunshine is back. And temperatures in the low 70s. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Greystone Lodge in Boone.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Friday night is the season opener for the Live Under the Oaks outdoor concert series at Birkdale Village in Huntersville. Grab your friends, family, and your lawn chairs as weekly music returns to the plaza each Friday through October. Red Rocks will be on site for beverages, and the Birkdale restaurants will be open for your Friday night dinner. The Walter Family Band performance, powered by Waves Entertainment, kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday at Birkdale Village in Huntersville with the season premiere of Live Under the Oaks. The 500 Club in Statesville presents a weekend full of fun. On Friday, Members Happy Hour begins at 5 p.m. Also enjoy the day with Glow Golf Loop. Saturday night at midnight, enjoy a good old-fashioned drive-in movie. Call 704-872-9990 or visit the 500 Club online for more details and enjoy your weekend at the 500 Club in Statesville. The Auto Fair presented by Camping World is back at Charlotte Motor Speedway Thursday through Saturday. The show brings together the car community in a celebration of their shared passion for all things automotive. Don't miss the Heritage Invitational, where iconic cars from all eras are gathered for up-close viewing. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for Auto Fair tickets and more information. On Saturday, come celebrate the 5th year anniversary at Lost Worlds Brewing in Cornelius. A DJ and coffee will kick off the day at 9 a.m. while live music begins at 1 p.m. Enjoy drink specials, multiple food trucks, and free admission. We'll see you Saturday at Lost Worlds Brewing in Cornelius for their 5th year anniversary party. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Merlefest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The War and Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
Spring style is just around the corner. Come explore Nina's Boutique in downtown Cornelius. From vibrant prints to classic staples, we've got everything you need from sizes extra small to 2X. Elevate your wardrobe with a splash of new season flair and our carefully curated accessories at Nina's.
Caregiving can be overwhelming, but fear not. Equity Health Primary Care is here to help. They specialize in personalized care for your loved ones. In clinic, at home, or virtually, they provide support, understanding, and resources to make the journey a little easier. Visit equityhealthcares.com.
All right, we're back with more from the Town of Huntersville on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
Thrive Here Live. I did it again. Done this before. I don't get the timing of radio. I'm new at this. All right, welcome back to Thrive Here Live with the Town of Huntersville. I'm here with Ethan Smith and Pam Escobar, who make up our communications department. And before we jump into more about communications of the town, let's let the community get to know you a little bit. So, Ethan, I know a lot about you and your favorite things to do, but share with me how long you've been in the town. What's your thing you're most proud of?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been in government communications for just under 10 years now. I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary with the Town of Huntersville in June of this year. Prior to working for the Town of Huntersville, I was in Union County. Before that, I was working as a PIO for my hometown in the city of Morganton. And before that, I was a crime reporter. So I've had an interesting career. It's never been boring, for sure. And truly, I mean, there's a ton to be proud of in the work that we're doing in Huntersville. But I think, we have redone our website. We've launched a newsletter. I know we're getting into all that later. But branding feels like one of the most significant projects I've done in my career. Just the level of interactivity that we had with the community, and getting to really, come to a place. I am a North Carolina native, but I'm not native to Huntersville, and I know that is true for a lot of people. But getting to come here and being trusted with telling a community story is a huge deal and something that I'm certainly proud of. And outside of my professional career, I'm a competitive CrossFit athlete. I have a Great Dane. Love traveling and hiking. I ride motorcycles. Anything adrenaline based or that gets you outdoors, I'm all about.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about you, Pam?
So I laugh because Ethan and I physically and are very different people, but we think a lot alike when it comes to communications. And I think maybe it's because our backgrounds are similar, because I also started in news. I was in broadcast news for 10 years and then switched over to government. Prior to working in Huntersville, I was in Mecklenburg County. And I came to Huntersville in August. I love it here. The people are wonderful. And I think that was what was exciting about coming to Huntersville, were the people. I was looking forward to being in a place where we would have more contact with the residents. And our 2-person department is going strong right now. And to be part of something from the ground up has been really, really exciting. I'm not a Great Dane owner. I have a Chiweenie, Lucy. She's a little girl, and then I'm a mom of 2, so those girls keep me very, very busy.
Yeah, well, we're glad that you're with the town of Huntersville. We appreciate all the hard work you do. So when this board came on, we really wanted to make sure that residents were informed and that the town was staying in touch with residents. So, tell me about what y'all have been doing to increase that touch on all those residents and keep the information flowing.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, we're doing a ton now. It's, the town before. So I came on as a PIO for the town before we started building a communications department. And the way Pam and I have structured the department is that, we kind of split the departments in half. And so now everybody has targeted communication support, from writing press releases, updating the website, getting things out on social. Anything we can do to help them proactively communicate everything out is what we're doing. When you're a PIO, it's a bit more reactive. You're one person and you're so busy, you're really getting things out just kind of on demand. But now we are actively going to the departments and meeting with them and saying, what do you guys have going on? What do you want to tell people? How can we help you tell that story? Because, my impression when I came on is, the information has always been there, but the departments themselves, it is not their responsibility, and nor do they really have the time to proactively do communications work to push that out. And so that's really where we come in, to make sure that we're bragging on our departments and telling their story and getting out all the good things that they're doing. And we're doing that in spades now. We're producing tons more than I think we ever have before. We had just over 100 press releases or web stories, whichever one you want to call them, go out last calendar year. We posted on social media on average once every other day. Facebook was a little bit more than that. And we've launched a newsletter now that people can engage with. It goes out every month. There's a ton of ways that we're putting information out there to really tell people what we have going on.
Yeah. And we had the State of the Town,
Yes.
which was last week, and that was a lot of fun. And we use a site for public engagement called Public Input, which is a great way for, you can find it on our webpage. There's a button for it right at the top. But you can find out ways that, if you're a community member, to participate. So Parks and Rec right now is trying to name a fire station. So that was up there. State of the Town was up there, so you could register for the event and come out. And then another thing that we're working on right now, too, is the Pottstown Community Preservation Plan.
Yeah, and so if people want to get our newsletter, what's the best way to sign up?
Go to our website, huntersville.org. There is a button on the homepage right under the search bar that says subscribe to our newsletter. Go in there, put in your name and your email, and hit subscribe, and you will be on our list.
What kind of things end up in that newsletter?
Tons. So we have drawn on our experience working with the communities that we have in the past to really kind of take the best parts and leave the bad parts. And so we do, general news stories and updates about the town. We do partner updates from partner organizations like DOT, Mecklenburg County, City of Charlotte, and others. Then we have a calendar of events that, is both our website calendar and a little bit more from, the police department, fire department, parks and recreation, any community events that they have going on. And then something unique to our newsletter that I don't think I've seen anywhere else is a section called Decisions from the Dais. It's where we work with you guys, the board, to highlight one decision or one vote that you make at a board meeting every month in an effort to highlight that and promote that to the public. Because, we're sensitive to the fact that, yes, the live stream is online. Yes, the meetings are open to the public, but not everybody has the time to come to a town board meeting or to watch the live stream. So it's proactively trying to highlight something to the community and make it bite-sized for them, where they can read 3 or 4 sentences and then click on a link for more.
Yeah, I mean, because we're putting stuff out every week, putting information on our website, but we also recognize that people are living their lives. They're very, very busy. they might not take the time to be checking Facebook every day and to see what we post. So it's an opportunity once a month to sort of, your cheat sheet. This is what happened this month in Huntersville, and maybe clue you into some things that you are interested in, but you didn't know was there. So I really think the newsletter is a great way to sort of catch up on what we did that month.
Yeah, I think so too. And I appreciate all that goes into it. I know it's extremely useful, even for me sometimes, to see what's going on in other departments that I don't always get a full update from department heads. So Pam, you mentioned Pottstown,
Yep.
and we have a project going on with Pottstown, which is our small area plan. It's working with the community to determine the direction that area wants to go and how the town can support them. How's that been going? What have we been doing with them, and what's next?
Well, that's why we have a public input page all about that Pottstown Community Preservation Plan, and we're working with consultants, Neighboring Concepts, and that group. From what I understand, this was before I started, but they were selected by the community because the community said this is who we want to work with. Mm-hmm. So they're leading the conversation, and we had a kickoff meeting in January that went really, really well, and we've. Since then, they've had one-on-one meetings with different people in the community and partners and even with staff to try to understand what has already occurred, what are some ideas for the future. And coming up on Wednesday, there's going to be a community workshop. And so that's when you sort of can really dig in as a community member and really share some of the ideas. We sort of before was talking more about the history, and now it's like, okay, what can we do? What do you want to see in your neighborhood? So I think it's a really exciting, like I said before, when I came here, it was all about meeting residents. I was not familiar with Pottstown prior to working in Huntersville, and it's a very active, engaged community who really cares about where they live and preserving their way of life. And so it'll be interesting to see where this goes. We're going to have a series of meetings, and then it looks like in May we're going to start talking about what the plan might look like, and then I think it's supposed to be completed and ready for you guys to take a look at in the fall. So it's an exciting time. I just want to encourage that anybody who lives in Pottstown to come out on Wednesday. There's obviously certain people in the community that are more vocal than others, and we want to make sure that it represents everyone in the community. What's cool about Pottstown too is that it's been around for such a long time. There's a lot of people who are interested who might have moved away, and they're still, because their family's there, they're still voicing their concerns and explaining. So there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of wonderful people who live there, and so it's exciting to see where this goes.
Yeah, and for those listening that don't know, Pottstown is the historic Black community in the town of Huntersville, and so it has been overlooked and for a long time, and so it was a priority for us to figure out how we can help protect their community and make sure that we preserve the heritage that is there, and the families have lived there for decades and decades, and we want to make sure that they get to stay there and that they get what they want for that community, whether it's sidewalks or new roads or new parks or whatever, and we want their voices in that. And so we're excited to see where we end up with that, and I hope it can bring lots of good things.
And unrelated to the Pottstown plan, but on Tuesday, there's a traffic calming public hearing for Pottstown on Delwood Drive. So even though this plan is happening, there's still other things that are going on in that community too. And so there was definitely some concern about the traffic going up and down Delwood Drive. And so our engineering department has been working with people in the community to figure out possible solutions to the traffic there.
Yeah, and that's something, if any resident has a concern about traffic in their area, they can request a study and see, get a traffic count, a speed count to see if there is anything we can do for them. So I'm excited for that to happen in Pottstown. It's been an issue for a long time. So it's good stuff. Well, we are about to hear from our sponsors again, and so stick with us, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Sit tight. We'll be back with more after this on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
Well, the weather keeping us on our toes as we kick off a brand new work week. Mostly cloudy, mid-70s for your Monday, but we'll need to watch closely through the afternoon for a round of scattered, it could be stronger, even severe thunderstorms. Damaging wind would be our main concern, also the low risk of a tornado or hail. Again, storms will be scattered, but stay weather aware, have a way to get warnings in case they're issued. We'll clear it out for your Tuesday, partly cloudy, some sunshine is back, and temperatures in the low 70s. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Craving a taste of Italy? At Palmadora's, we serve up scratch-made comfort with every bite. From our hand-tossed pizzas to classic pasta dishes, it's the perfect place to gather your family or just treat yourself. Visit palmadoras.com for menus and hours. Your table's waiting.
Johnson's Parts and Supply, your Auto Plus auto parts store for 42 years, carries a full line of Wix filters for cars, trucks, and all types of heavy-duty equipment. Johnson's Auto Parts, your Auto Plus auto parts store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
Yeehaw for rodeo season at Harrison's, the home of work, western, and wow. Whether you compete or cheer from the stands, Harrison has the looks to help you wow the crowd. Get western classics and the latest styles from Harriet, Cinch, rock and roll denim, and Wrangler. Find us in Mooresville.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Keep the winter temperatures outside with propane heat from G&B Energy. We're your local providers for cost-effective propane to heat your water, warm your home, and cook your meals, even if the power goes out. For a limited time, take advantage of rebates, like up to $350 in savings on select Cozy Heat fireplaces, up to $400 on select furnaces, and tankless water heaters starting at only $295. Visit gbenergy.com to learn more. G&B Energy, family-owned and North Carolina grown.
The best talk all day long.
WSIC.
Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Wall Street is setting itself up to end 2025's first quarter with the worst market performance since the 2022 heights of post-pandemic inflation. Right now, the Dow is near break-even. NASDAQ down about 2%. S&P 500 down 1%. Today's losses for the U.S. market follow the tumble seen around the world as nations with large auto industries dependent on U.S. sales fear the ramification of the 25% auto import tariff threatened by President Trump last week and set to be made official this Wednesday. A weekend interview with NBC in which the president said he couldn't care less if automakers raise their prices in response to tariffs suggests to many that this tariff threat, unlike some past ones, will be carried out. Nokia and Amazon have settled a patent dispute over streaming technologies that had spread to courts across 3 continents. Nokia said the agreement covers the use of Nokia video technologies in Amazon streaming services and devices. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
The button pushing stops here.
WSIC. Local starts here.
All right, we're back with more from the Town of Huntersville on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
All right, welcome back to Thrive Here Live with the Town of Huntersville. We have been talking about communications in the Town of Huntersville, and one of the biggest parts of communication in this modern era is social media. Talk to me about how we use social media to communicate with residents.
Sure, yeah. So we use it a lot in a lot of different ways. And generally we push out departmental updates from the board, and then, partner content as well. And then something we internally call pretty pictures. People want to love where they live. Huntersville is a beautiful place. And so as we snap photos or videos of, fun events or beautiful scenes around town, we share that as well. But we have tailored our strategy since Pam came on board to customize it per platform. So Facebook is sort of, the primary one where everything gets shared. It's our highest follower count. Our highest engagement rate on everything. So we do focus a lot of time making sure that, if we don't share it anywhere else, at least we're getting it on Facebook. Instagram is obviously very photo and video heavy. So we rely on that for Instagram, but try and duplicate as many departmental or important updates as we have from Facebook to Instagram. And then we have scaled back our usage of Twitter or X, whichever one you call it, which was actually just a simple data-driven decision. Through my work as a one-person show in the town when I was a PIO, I noticed that basically our regular, updates and everything on Twitter or X weren't getting a lot of views or a lot of engagement. I mean, we were lucky to get 100 to 300 views on a tweet or a post. But then when we would share critical information, as we call it, so emergency updates like burn bans, controlled burns, any weather updates or anything like that, the engagement would be off the charts. And so with Twitter, you have to really figure out how many characters you have, and how you have to break it into multiple posts. And so that the effort we were putting into making regular updates on Twitter when it wasn't getting high engagement just was not worth it. And so we decided to focus in on those critical or emergency updates to make sure that we were getting the most bang for our buck in using Twitter. But yeah, so that's kind of just a general breakdown of how we use each platform.
HR uses LinkedIn often to talk about positions that are opening and that sort of thing. And so we're going to be increasing our usage of LinkedIn as well, because it's a great way for people who might be interested in working for the town to see all the different positions and experts and things that you could do working for the town. So LinkedIn is also part of the strategy as well.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that y'all have done or started doing is the highlights of the different departments, where you go in and like you film them making the street signs and running on the greenway. Do y'all have a favorite?
Ooh.
I do like the street sign
Yeah,
one,
that's
but
a good
I was
one.
super excited about it when I found out that we made street signs. I said, "Ooh, can I see it?" And so that was a lot of fun. But I think just doing ride-alongs and seeing people do the work that they do is helpful, both for us, but then also sharing it with the community. People are super thankful after a storm that we pick up, things. Now you kind of get to see the human beings behind all that. And so, again, we have such a cool job in the sense that we get to highlight the great people that work for the town and recognizing and understanding some of the things that they do. And again, we take that for granted every day, right? We drive through our beautiful town and everything works, and that's great. And the reality is that doesn't happen by accident. There are people who have consciously thought, on Friday, and this is a video I'm working on now that has not come out yet, but on Friday, we're walking through an intersection talking about how the light changes and how it used to be and why it changed now. And it was based on observing the traffic at the intersection, how people are using it, complaints that people sent in. And so there's a lot of thought and time that goes into so many things. And if we can highlight that so that people have a better understanding on how we got there, I think that's great. But the signed stuff, that was a lot of fun, and I almost want to reshare it because it was, I like sound, and it's just like it's like very satisfying just listening to it. So that was
I would
fun.
also say we've done a couple community-based campaigns that at least I'm really proud of. We just did one, worked with Commissioner Rivers and Commissioner Hunt to highlight landmarks in the Black community for Black History Month in February, and that was a really awesome partnership and a really cool story to tell. And I learned a lot from doing that as well. And then right when I first came on back in 2023, we were in the middle of our sesquicentennial, our 150th anniversary, and we had a lot of fun facts and interesting tidbits on our website, but those hadn't gone out to social media yet. And so for the entire back half of the year, for I think it was 6 months straight, every Friday we did something called Fun Fact Friday for the 150th, where we highlighted people and events and landmarks and everything for the town's 150th that were significant in our history. And I was proud of that because people really enjoyed it, and it was a cool way to tell the town's story, but it was also super helpful for me to learn. I was brand new in Huntersville, and so I got to learn a lot by doing that campaign as well.
Well, I would also, I'll shout out Ethan for his rundowns with Park and Rec, because that's something I could never do. There's no way that I could run, because one, I'm not a runner, but to run and talk and interview. But our Park and Rec crew, they're awesome, and they're all game for it. So that's something, those rundowns that they've been doing, where again you're hearing about Park and Rec, but seeing them on the greenways and seeing all the cool things. But anyway, that's not an easy thing to do, those videos, and I don't think I could do them. So it's nice that you have an athlete in house who is able to do that.
It's definitely one of my favorites for sure. It's really fun to do, and the format for the rundown, it's quite literal. And so, for anybody listening who doesn't know, Ever so often, I get together with Assistant Director Tracy Hauk in Parks and Rec, and we go to a greenway or a park and we go for a run and just literally talk and interview while we run through a really pretty greenway about different updates that Parks and Rec have going on. And so it's a really fun way to get some exercise, some outside time, and then also do my job as well.
Yeah, and our Parks and Rec team is pretty fit themselves,
Yes.
so
Absolutely.
so they are game for anything physical, which is super fun, and that also lends to our Parks and Rec events and activities that go on there are really fun because that's their personalities come out in all of those events that we have. So it's very cool. So what social media, of course, is social media, and things happen there all the time that are unexpected. What kind of feedback have you gotten from our community about what we share on social media and the change with X and those different things?
We get a lot. And, I do want to stress that we do listen and we do read the comments. And we don't have the time or the energy to reply to everybody individually. So we do have a bit of an internal strategy where, we don't hop in the comment section and reply directly to everything that we get. It's not our place and we're not the experts. We're often sharing on behalf of other people. But if somebody asks a question that we think is beneficial, to everybody viewing the post, we'll jump in and reply to that person so other people see the answer to that question. And the other thing, with reading the comments and staying informed and seeing the feedback we get about different decisions, we rely on data for big decisions that we make, like the X decision to scale back its usage. But then, we allow the comment section to inform what we do in terms of what we post and how we post it. So, we put out a post that resulted in a lot of people saying, well, where are we supposed to walk in town? Where are our sidewalks? Where are our greenways? What's going on? And we were like, well, that's an opportunity for us to do more education about, all the different ways you can get around Huntersville that is not in a car, and to also let people know what's coming, because there's a lot of projects in the works that will be done in about 5 years. And once they're open, they'll be incredible, but not everybody knows they're coming. So we use that to kind of inform posts that we made about, here's sidewalk projects, here's transportation projects, here's mobility projects, and here's greenways that are coming. And people respond very well to that. And I feel I may have just given away the secret sauce because I don't know if people know that we do that. But we try and allow every bit of feedback that we get. We try to view it as an opportunity to inform how we use social media.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's one of the hard things about social media versus the reality is that everything takes time. And government, we're relying on federal grants, state grants, local interactions. So even though you send in a comment and say you're not happy with something right now, it doesn't mean that it's not in the works. So there is a challenge of educating people on just the time frame. It's just very different than instantaneous. Just because you can interact with us instantaneously doesn't mean that we can show you the results instantaneously. So there's a little bit of back and forth that is just the nature of, again, communication and working in different areas. Government, there is that challenge just because we are. I mean, if you call us, if you email us, our staff is on it. Very, very. We have so many positive interactions. But you're not going to get that from sending a comment on Facebook because that's not the place where we're going to dig in and get back to you instantaneously. But we appreciate the feedback. We definitely use it to communicate.
Yeah, and the best way to get an answer to a question is to email the board members because then we'll get it out to the appropriate staff member who can then answer directly and help you work through the issue or solve the problem or find the answer or show you where to go. That is the best way to get something versus social media.
Yeah, and truly, this is one of, if not the most responsive communities I've worked in. Our staff are very quick to respond. I know our board members are as well. I know, I send emails at 5 a.m., 10 p.m. Just whenever I can get back to a person, but we're always getting back to people and making sure that they have the answers they need.
Yeah, so we are coming up on another commercial break to hear from our sponsors. So stick with us and we'll be right back with Thrive Here Live in Huntersville.
Yeah.
Sit tight. We'll be back with more after this on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
Well, the weather keeping us on our toes as we kick off a brand new work week. Mostly cloudy, mid-70s for your Monday, but we'll need to watch closely through the afternoon for a round of scattered. It could be stronger, even severe thunderstorms. Damaging wind would be our main concern. Also, the low risk of a tornado or hail. Again, storms will be scattered, but stay weather aware. Have a way to get warnings in case they're issued. We'll clear it out for your Tuesday. Partly cloudy. Some sunshine is back. And temperatures in the low 70s. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Friday night is the season opener for the Live Under the Oaks outdoor concert series at Birkdale Village in Huntersville. Grab your friends, family, and your lawn chairs as weekly music returns to the plaza each Friday through October. Red Rocks will be on site for beverages, and the Birkdale restaurants will be open for your Friday night dinner. The Walter Family Band performance, powered by Waves Entertainment, kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday at Birkdale Village in Huntersville with the season premiere of Live Under the Oaks. The 500 Club in Statesville presents a weekend full of fun. On Friday, Members Happy Hour begins at 5 p.m. Also enjoy the day with Glow Golf Loop. Saturday night at midnight, enjoy a good old-fashioned drive-in movie. Call 704-872-9990 or visit the 500 Club online for more details and enjoy your weekend at the 500 Club in Statesville. The Auto Fair presented by Camping World is back at Charlotte Motor Speedway Thursday through Saturday. The show brings together the car community in a celebration of their shared passion for all things automotive. Don't miss the Heritage Invitational, where iconic cars from all eras are gathered for up-close viewing. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for Auto Fair tickets and more information. On Saturday, come celebrate the 5th year anniversary at Lost Worlds Brewing in Cornelius. A DJ and coffee will kick off the day at 9 a.m. while live music begins at 1 p.m. Enjoy drink specials, multiple food trucks, and free admission. We'll see you Saturday at Lost Worlds Brewing in Cornelius for their 5th year anniversary party. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Merlefest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, the Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Flores, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, the Warren Treaty, the Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
All right, we're back with more from the Town of Huntersville on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
All right, welcome back to Thrive Here Live with the Town of Huntersville. We have talked about our town's newsletter and social media and our branding. Let's talk about that redesigned website, because I can tell you before I ran for office, I went through our entire website before it was redone, by the way, and there were so many dead links and misspelled words and things that kind of gave me a little bit of anxiety about what it was looking for. But then I learned it was under renovation anyway, so I was very happy when it got released. So tell me all about that. That was a big project.
Sure. Yes, it was. I inherited a lot of big projects when I started. It was the website redesign, the 150th general obligation bonds campaign. So walked in and hit the ground sprinting, and haven't slowed down since. But so we launched the newly redesigned website January 31st of 2024. And it was interesting the way it came together, because really when you think about website users and who's visiting the website, it's not people who work with it every single day. So what I did after being tasked with leading that project when I came on is I developed committees from each department or each section of the website, because departments all have their own section, and then some other staff members to really sit down and go through their section of the website with me and tell me what they didn't like, what they get calls about, what they want to put on there, what needs to be taken off. And then we kind of split up the work of like, okay, you tackle these pages, I'll tackle these pages. And really just went through it very intentionally and included people on those committees who don't work for the departments that they were interacting with and recommending redesign options for, because that gives you that outside perspective of, okay, this person is just coming to look at the website. You work with it every day. You know where it's at. They have no idea. Mm-hmm. And so that really helped us reimagine the navigation of the website and put information out front of people quicker. We implemented what's called a 3 clicks or 3 scrolls rule in the redesign process. So, the design was one thing, how it actually looks and everything was one part of the process. But then overhauling the content and implementing the 3 clicks, 3 scrolls rule is what makes it really easy to use. So basically, what that means is wherever you come into the website, be it the homepage, the police department, the boards and commissions page, an application form, you can get to where you're trying to go and what you're looking for within 3 clicks or 3 scrolls. And that it's been fantastic. It's, it's reduced the call volume that we get on our administrative assistants who are really on the front lines interacting with our community. It's made it easier for departments to navigate their own pages and update them. And we also empowered departments to update their own sections of the website by making sure that they had their logins and that they were trained up on how to use the website. And for anything higher level or that takes a little technical expertise, we're always happy to hop in and help. But it's been fantastic having it redesigned. We get a lot of positive feedback internally and externally. And I'll brag on it for a second and say last year in May, it won an international award, an award of distinction from the Communicator Awards, which is the largest communications contest in the world, according to the Communicator Awards. But that competition is for both public and private entities, and it gets more than 3,000 entries every year it's open. So it was a big deal to win that award and kind of really gave us a nod that, yes, you did this well and you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. My favorite part of the redesigned webpage is that search bar that's prominent right in the center, because you can literally type anything in there and it'll bring it up for you. You don't have to click through all the different levels or know which department handles this or that. You just type in what you want to find and it pops right up.
Right.
And what I love, I'm new. I mean, it was already redesigned before I started. So even now, departments are looking at to how to make it even better. And again, going back to it's data driven. It's based on our administrators telling us, okay, we've received all these calls. We need to figure out a way to make this easy for people to find. So that's what's driving it. It's the residents. It's the people who live in Huntersville who are telling us, this is what I want to know. This is what I need to find. And so even under that search bar, which is great, which I use all the time, there are also big buttons right there that to sign up for the newsletter, things that would are sort of frequently asked, things that are looked for a lot. So again, there's a lot of thought process in the menus and everything about the organization of it. But it's also simple. And I think that's what happens is that we, with the intention of trying to give everybody as much information as possible, we bog them down. And so now we've sort of like pulled back and simplified it, put the search bar up there so that people can find what they're looking for when they want to find it in 3 clicks or faster. So yeah, I do think it's very useful.
And something I approached it with is, the thinking that I've heard from other communicators across North Carolina is really your website is a living, breathing thing. So not everything needs to go on there, just the most pertinent things. And so you have to always be looking at your analytics year over year. And it's, if a page gets 10,000 views, you should keep that page. If it gets 10 views in a year, you can probably take that off your website. And that doesn't mean that information goes away. I mean, we're a government. We have records laws of things that we have to hold on to. It just means that it's improving the performance of the website and the navigability of the website because it's not getting bogged down with a page that gets only a handful of visits a year.
But even though it was redesigned last year, we're always looking at it. We're always trying to figure out to make it better. And so sitting with some of my departments, that's what we talk about. Okay, how do we make this map easier to look up? How do we make this list more again, it's just trying to make it so that people get what they are looking for as quick as possible.
Yeah, and I think the thing I get asked the most when I'm out in the community is, what's that project that's going in on the corner of this road and that road? And I always tell them, go to the planning page, click on the project's map, put the address in or close by, and it'll come right up and you can click on it and learn all the things. Because people don't realize, like, a lot of the projects we have that are going now were approved or administratively approved or by the board many years ago, and they're just now coming to fruition. And so even we don't always know exactly what's going in where because it's something that was approved a long time ago. And so I go to the planning page a lot.
Yeah. Well, and then also too, we also have a map of projects that NCTOT is doing because that affects your traffic as well when you're driving around and you don't know what's the town, what's the state, who's doing what. But you can find out exactly like what's the timetable on some of this stuff because there is a lot that's constantly happening. There's building all over the place. So it's always a good way to check, see what's happening.
Yeah, and you can see readily which roads are town roads and which roads are NCDOT roads, and that helps you know which place to go to get help. Sometimes you can call the town and get help with NCDOT roads, but it helps to have both pathways. I always tell people contact both places to get those problems solved, because it is, tricky out there. But one other thing that y'all do that probably nobody knows is the Huntersville 101.
Yes.
Which is how I got introduced to all the back end information about the town of Huntersville some time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the Huntersville 101 and what it means for our community.
Yeah, so Huntersville 101 is a civic education program that we offer to our community every year, where residents can apply and be accepted, and then they spend 8 weeks with us, 2 hours once a week for 8 weeks straight, learning all about the town of Huntersville and what we do. So we start off with kind of a general overview and information about the town and its history, and then we move into specific departments. So we'll cover administration and finance and HR and IT, the very exciting departments. And then we'll move into, planning and public works and engineering. And then we always wrap up with a few site visits to the police department and the fire department, and people get to go up in fire trucks and meet the canines. And it's a really strong way to end the program. And then after they have devoted so much time to learning about the town, we invite them to a board meeting to be recognized for graduating the program. And I should say we're on the cusp of announcing this year's dates. We are aiming for mid-May to early July, and we're doing something a little bit different this year, which is instead of offering one spring and one fall session with morning in the spring, evening in the fall, we're going to offer an afternoon and evening session on the same day so people can attend whichever one works best for them, and get it all done in one fell swoop and make it a little bit more efficient.
If Huntersville residents want to participate in Huntersville 101, how do they get on the list? How do they apply?
Email me, because right now the application is not live. But check the website frequently for updates, because it'll be just a few weeks here before we announce. And we'll put it out on social media and our website when the application goes live. But if they are curious about the program, or want kind of a placeholder to be sent an application, feel free to email me at esmith@huntersville.org, and I will be happy to help that.
Great. You've done this a couple times with folks. What is something that you share with the participants that is the most surprising to them or most engaging for them?
There is a lot. They really enjoy the history, and of course everybody enjoys meeting the canines and the fire department. But really I find that they get a lot of value out of the first informational session about how things are shared in government, how things are broken down. Because, something about Huntersville is that, I think we all say it, nobody's from here. Very few people actually remain who are from here. And so, they're moving from states with different rules, home rule versus Dillon rule states, what that means, what we can do, what we can't do, the laws we can make, and projects we can intervene in that we can't intervene in. And I think people come in with frustrations, about traffic or development or anything else, and they're asking, why can't you stop all these things? And then we say, well, we're a Dillon rule state. We're kind of, at the whim of what the state legislature will allow us to do, or that's an NCDOT project, that's not us, or this was by right, and what all that means. And so they walk away with a deeper understanding of why things are happening the way that they are, and realizing, it's not all the town's fault. It's not on us. There are things that legally we can and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say they walk away loving our staff.
They do.
The people who give the sessions become like rock stars. And so that's nice to see too, because we're privileged enough every day to interact with them. But the average person doesn't know who's putting that budget together, or who's working on all these things. And so that's, I think, as a participant last year, it was really fun to watch.
Yeah. I think everybody wants to be best friends with our deputy town manager, Jackie Huffman.
For sure. Yeah. And as a mayor, all mayors say that their town has the best staff in the whole state, but I can tell you right now that our town does have the best staff, and I'll fight anyone on that. So I will take that on. So thank you all so much for joining us for Thrive Here Live with the Town of Huntersville. Thank you, Pam and Ethan, for joining me today. I really appreciate all the information you shared.
Thank you.
Stay in touch with us, and see you next time.